Okay, it looks like we are live, and I sent an email to Clive to see if he can pop in. Got to kill the computer audio. And I sent an email to Clive to see if he can. There we go. So what we're going to try to do is plan the possibility of a regular watch hangout show and see how many people we could get to come in to such a show, see what kind of interest there would be from a standpoint of people being co-hosts of the show and people watching the show and interacting with the show to see what kind of interest there would be. See if we can get some experts to come in, some people that really know watches, like Clive and others. I'm not a watch expert. I'm just a watch user for many years. So my reviews and all have been more from a standpoint of practical, everyday use of Rolex for many years, and now, of course, Grand Seiko. So we need to bring people in with a lot of expertise. So that's what we're going to talk about in this hangout. I don't know if Clive can make it in or not. And that's the National Geographic channel you see in the background there, a little bit rolling in the background there. Down here at the Durwood Estate, unlike my place up north, we do have a television with a whole bunch of channels. So when I'm down here, I just let it run and I move it on different channels and just kind of let it run. And then I'm bouncing around doing different things. So, and let me know in the chat. Let me get so that I can monitor the chat here. Let me know in the chat how the audio is doing and if the audio looks like it's in sync with the video. Again, I'm using kind of a new system here. And one thing that I was thinking about is something like this would be a good way for guests to also join the show. If we have the main broadcast originating with my setup that I usually have up north, where we have the switcher or where we can switch to a macro view and we can show an actual watch and then talk about it, and then have other people join with the hangout and bring that hangout into the show, then we could kind of almost have our cake and eat it too. We could have a high quality setup with a nice macro shot and all that, but also be able to bring guests in. Whereas if you do the whole thing with just a hangout like this, you're limited as far as the quality of the stream, the bit rate of the stream and all of that good stuff. So, and I think it was 720p yesterday when I did the test, and it wasn't even 1080p. So when I stream with my encoder box, which is what I would normally be doing, that's 1080p, and it's a higher bit rate. So, so that's that. What else do I have to report on? So I did a video the other day on I got the second timeless razor company out of Ohio. They make them in the US. And I had gotten the bronze one a week or two ago and really enjoyed it. I did some videos, and now I have the stainless steel version, which it's another home run. I shaved with it and immediately got a great shave, even though it's a little bit more aggressive. The blade gap is a little more. It didn't matter. I didn't cut myself or anything. I got a perfect shave with it first try, and the handle's a little longer on that, which I do like. Thoughts on General Mattis's resignation? You know, it's funny because I was thinking about some of that stuff because I did have Fox News rolling earlier and I was overhearing some of this stuff, and I was thinking about these politicians and how inefficient the whole thing is. I mean, they just spend so much time talking, and then one group wants to do one thing and go one direction, they go that direction for a while, and then another group turns around and then they go another direction for a while, and it's just so inefficient. And I was thinking about Bitcoin when I was thinking about that, and I was thinking about how it's the opposite, how it's so efficient, because there is nobody changing the direction. The direction is what it is, and it does what it does, and nobody can mess with it. Nobody can say, oh, well, we want fewer Bitcoin to be issued right now, or we want more to be issued, or we want to change this rule, or we want to change that rule. I mean, it's totally independent, and it just does what it does, and it's predictable, and it's pretty much, the rules are pretty much set. Now, there can be consensus, and they can do certain things or certain latitude, and I'm not privy to all the details, but the important things like 21 million will be the maximum ever produced. And of those, there's already been millions lost. So there's probably only going to be somewhere between 15 and 18 million in circulation ever. Those important things are not going to change. But you listen to any of this modern politic stuff, and they're always all over the place. They're always like, Trump's the worst guy ever. He should be impeached. He should be shot. Whatever. As one group, and then the other group is he's the greatest thing since sliced bread. He's done all these great things, and so on and so forth. And no, they can't get on the same page. Nobody can get on the same page, and so it's just all this minutia. And being here in the Washington D.C. metropolitan area, I've been here on and off my whole life. I've seen this my whole life. This horrid inefficiency. The fact that this country is so wealthy is in spite of all that. I mean, the government has tried their best to thwart success many times, but they haven't been able to, because the American people have been has so much intestinal fortitude, and have been able to be productive and be innovative in spite of all the political minutia. Trump is very dumb, though. I haven't met Trump. From what I've heard, he's extremely intelligent. He's dumb like a fox, right? So yeah, I would not underestimate him, and he probably is a billionaire. I mean, even if he's only worth 500 million, I mean, that's pretty good in my book. So he's done something right. So, but the thing is, even if he's the best ever, he can't do anything, because there's so many people that are going to fight him every step of the way, and so you can't. Just like a football team could never win a Super Bowl with everybody going every direction and without being cohesive, right? You got to be a team. And we don't have that in Washington, D.C. We've got everybody kind of looking out for themselves and doing what they've been paid to do by the lobbyists or whatever. And it's just a big mess. His daddy gave him all that money. He didn't. Yeah, right. Go ahead and believe that, Tom. And let me tell you something. If somebody does give you a bunch of money, just like most people that win the lottery and get a bunch of money, most of them lose it in a couple of years. Most of them become alcoholics or whatever, or they commit suicide or whatever. So even if he was given every penny he has and he's kept it, that's good. That's a win. So if you give a dumb person $1 million, they won't convert it to $1 billion. Well, yeah, I mean, but like I say, even if let's say he was given $500 million, $500 million, and let's say he's worth $500 million now, that's still a win. that's still a win, right? I mean, he's maintained it. He hasn't lost it, which, like I say, most people that are given something, typically they lose it. Trump ain't that bad. Yeah, I've never met the man, so I really can't comment. And that's the other thing. And we see that with the troll comments in some of my videos and so forth. People will say anything, right? They don't know what they're talking about, but then they'll just go ahead and make a statement about something, right? Like it's a fact. And I'm not going to make a statement about Trump because I don't know the man. And I'm certainly not going to make a statement about him based on what I've seen in the media, based on what those people have said. Yeah. Why don't you believe that his dad gave him all that money? It's not hard to keep 500 million around. Tom, you're stupid. Okay, that's just that's an example of a stupid comment. It is very hard. Statistics show that most people that inherit big money, I'm talking hundreds of millions of dollars, people that have won the lottery, for example, statistics show that most of them end up broke in like 5 to 10 years. It's just like these heavyweight fighters that have gotten like $50 million for a fight, and you know, they made hundreds of millions of dollars, and then they're broke 10 years later, right? It is very common. It's the exception to the rule that doesn't happen. When you're given something and you don't work for it and you don't earn it, it doesn't have the same value, and it doesn't have, psychologically, for whatever reason, people fail to do the right thing. And I don't know why, but I'm just telling you that this is statistically what happens. And there's been books written about it and so on. There's a book, I think it's called the Lottery Curse or something like that. It's just well known that this is this is what happens. So let's see. Trump ain't, so Tom, you should really just educate yourself a little bit before you put stupid comments in a chat, is all I'm saying. Trump ain't perfect, but he's doing a pretty decent job overall. Have not seen a decent president since Reagan, and my business is booming. Yeah, well, I mean, I don't know how much the president can do to really help businesses long term. I mean, he's done some things that probably have helped, but the economy is cyclical. We're seeing the downturn right now in the stock market. So, and you can blame that because the Democrats are coming in or whatever. You can blame it whatever, but it generally goes up and down, and I don't know how much the president can really do one way or the other. Like I say, he's stymied, even if he does try to do things. There's always people that will put up roadblocks. And a lot of people like that. It's, called checks and balances. Anyways, love the idea of bringing on some watch experts. Yeah, I mean, we got to figure out who we could get. Maybe a more interesting question: when Trump passes and if his kids don't get indicted, do you think the Trump organization will survive the next generation? Don't know. Don't really know how strongly built it is, what the foundation is of it. But a lot of times things like that don't survive. Like the Kennedys, for example, have squandered most of their fortune. Large parts of it. I mean, it's just very common. Again, when you're given something, it's very common that it gets squandered for whatever reasons. So you think it's okay to cheat and steal from the American taxpayer? Tom, there you go with another stupid comment. I mean, how do I know who cheated or stole? I mean, how would I know that? And how would you know that? I mean, that's just a stupid comment. I never mentioned Trump's name. I just made a statement about General Mattis's resume. Again, I don't even know General Mattis. I mean, for all accounts, he's a good guy and all that. And I mean, that's fine. There's some crazy stat about most family businesses don't survive the next generation. Yeah, like I said, it goes back to when you're given something and you didn't work for it. There's something in the psyche, there's something that you don't value that, and you don't take it seriously, and you don't, whatever, for whatever reason. Um, Trump is only in office to make money off the position. That's it. Tom, Tom is Tom is like the king of stupid comments, right? Things he knows nothing about. He has no clue. I mean, we don't know how much money he's making as a result of him being in the presidency. Um, I mean, we know for sure that past presidents have done really well. I mean, the Clintons have done very, very well. Obama's done very well. Just about anybody that gets elected to a major position, whether it be in the Senate or president or whatever, most of them, even if they came in broke, they go out wealthy. And that speaks more towards the corruption of the system, where people can be bought, and it's done all the time. So, yeah, but I wouldn't know. I mean, I don't know anything about his finances, so I certainly couldn't make an intelligent comment on it. But that won't stop Tom from making unintelligent comments about it. I know a lot. I choose not to ignore the facts of what Trump is doing. Tom, you don't know anything. You're sitting in your mom's basement. You're broke. Okay, you have no money. You're clueless. All right, and you're making just stupid comments, and I think everybody knows that. So, but it's okay. You're entertaining. Now, as long as you don't get nasty, we won't block you. But if you get nasty, we'll also block you. Tom went to the College of SNL. No, I went to Trump University. Well, there you go. That would make sense. Craig, besides a timeless razor, what did you get yourself for Xmas? I haven't really gotten myself anything. Unfortunately, there's really nothing I need. So, yeah, and I'm not a big like Christmas and birthdays and all that type of guy. I'm a type of guy that I like to do the same thing kind of all the time. I'm kind of consistent about just getting things done. My home is 4,300 square feet. Tom is delusional. He's sitting in his basement, his mom's basement, a little bit of mildew and stuff. He's probably overweight, needing some Lay's potato chips. But this week he splurged and got the name brand. It's been a long week, and I need the laughs from Tom. Yeah, he's a piece of work. Okay, back to the more enlightening topics besides politics. Yeah, politics is very depressing. It really is. And I'm in the thick of things. I'm right here in Montgomery County. I mean, right in the home of all the lobbyists and, the lawyers and all the scumbags. I mean, a lot of them are right here in my backyard, literally. And it's depressing. Yeah, let's get back to reality. In my office right now. Tom says he's in his office. He's pretending like he has a job now. That's freaking great. Tom's pretending like he has a job. You gotta love Tom. He's a piece of work. Oh my gosh, what a piece of work. So yeah, I sent an email to Clive, and I don't know if he's going to pop in or not. This might be a little bit too early for him. Watch out for the wild animals behind you. I'm telling you, that goat got aggressive today. The white goat has always been a little more aggressive. From 10 years ago when we first got the goat, it was always the aggressive one, the white one. Black one was a little bit smaller, and now this is the first time I was really concerned that he was going to attack me. I mean, he actually butted me with his horn. It's in the video. And I mean, that if he wants to really get you with that horn, he could really do some damage. So this is the first time I've ever been like a little bit scared that, he was going to straight up attack me. Clive just finished his live stream. Not sure what his plans are after it. Oh, he did a live stream. Okay. Good stream quality, though. Okay, well, there you go. Anyway, I sent him an email, so if he can pop in, maybe we can just talk briefly about the trying to set something up. After the first of the year, I'm going to talk with Steve at Little Treasury Jewelers and see if he would want to participate, because he's an Omega dealer, and then he's, of course, a Grand Seiko dealer, and then he has a bunch of other watches too. And he's a watch guy, and he knows a lot of watch people. So hopefully he will want to participate, and hopefully he can get some other people. I'd love to get somebody from Hodinkee. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, and I'd like to get somebody from Tim's operation, the watch box. I mean, maybe even Tim himself. That would be epic if he could come in. And maybe we would start with just doing it once a month. And then if there's interest, do it like once a week. Set a time slot so it's a regularly reoccurring show. So how do you store all your professional photos, videos, etc.? No, cloud, no. Okay, so that's a good question. I used to be much more religious about it than I am now. I used to keep multiple backups of everything. I still back up. The photos are easy because they don't take up that much space. So those, what I do is the photos are in a photos library on my computer. I have a working library, or whatever you want to call it, that is on a external SSD that I didn't bring with me now. It's up north, but I don't always have it hooked up to the computer. I'm not taking any photos this week, so I don't really care. But typically, that's my main working library. And then if it gets too big for that SSD, I back it up. And I periodically back it up anyway to just keep it a copy. And then JPEGs of all the photos that I publish are on my Flickr stream. So, but those are JPEGs, not the RAW files. So the RAW files are in the photos library, which I back up. And I used to keep like 2 backups of it, but now I just keep 1. Because my thought process is 10 years from now, 20 years from now, I mean, people aren't going to really care. I mean, I get very few people that say, oh, I want my photo from like 19 whatever, right? I mean, it's like, like I say, I used to really care about it more than I do now. But I do back them up somewhat. And then the 4K video footage, I used to keep all of it. And now I don't keep it all. I just keep stuff that I think might have some value to keep. I keep the produced videos, the edited down videos. I back them up on a couple of different drives. And of course, they're on my Vimeo account. The important ones are on my Vimeo account, which the original file can be downloaded from there. But I don't keep all the raw footage that comes out of the camera, because it's a lot. I mean, sometimes my shoot will be like 50 gigs, right? And again, same thing. I mean, I used to keep it all backed up, but it's very, very rare when I need to go back and get that footage. It's so rare that it just really isn't worth all the effort. So, so I keep the produced video, and some of when I say raw out of the camera, it's not raw. I'm not shooting raw, but the less compressed clips as they come out of the camera. For some of the more important shoots or events, I will keep that, but not all of them. So like, for example, if I do a review of some relatively inexpensive item that somebody sent me to review, I'm not going to keep all that stuff, right? I'll keep the produced video, but I'm not going to keep the footage I shot. Dow Jones has been sinking like the Titanic. Yeah, it's not It's not a good Christmas for me. It's a good thing I'm a long-term investor. We've been through dips like this before, and it, you know, it is what it is. This is why you got to be diversified. This is why you've got to have real estate. And actually, I prefer real estate. I just like the solidity of real estate. I'm sitting in some really solid real estate right now. So you should have real estate. You should have stocks. You should have cash. You should have some gold, some silver, and you should have Bitcoin. I think if you have all those things, then, and if you have no debt, I think you've got a fighting chance. But yeah, it's not looking good. Not looking good for the internet. I mean, the internet, for the, by the way, do you guys follow Adam Meister, the Bitcoin Meister? I interviewed him a couple years ago here on my channel. He's a Bitcoin guy, good guy, young guy. He travels all over the world constantly. He's in Israel right now for a couple of months, but he's always traveling, and he's a real Bitcoin evangelist. And his thing is have a strong hand, just hold, buy and hold, buy and hold, accumulate, accumulate. And I'm really glad that I ran into him a couple of years ago, because I had sold, when we'd have these big run-ups in Bitcoin, I would generally sell like 10% of my Bitcoin, right? After a big run-up. Well, you do that a few times, right? You've lost 10, 20, 30%, whatever, how many times you've done it, right? You've lost that amount of your Bitcoin. When you've gotten some money for it, yeah, that's fine. That's all well and good, but you're slowly whittling down your supply. And after I met Adam, I slowed down on doing that. I'll put it that way. I did sell some last fall, you know, in November, but not that much. And but he has really impressed upon me that you should think about it long term. And we'll see. Time will tell if that's a good strategy, right? But now I'm thinking much more long term. And I'm actually, well, when it was down around 3,100 and something or whatever, I actually accumulated some more. And I might get some more on the next dip. By the way, I think it's going to dip down again. I think that those of you that want to buy it at around 3,000 or below, I think it will dip back down. You'll have another chance. You might only have one more chance, though. I don't know how many more times it's going to go down that low before it goes to the moon. The next 20 years will be better for stocks. The last was about property. I don't know. I mean, I don't have a crystal ball, but long term, the stocks have always been good. You know, they've averaged 10%. Okay, so if you're looking for a 10% return, theoretically, you could just do an index fund, you know, S&P 500 index, and you're going to get 10%. Some good mutual funds, you can get a little more than 10%. So some real estate, you can do better than that when all is said and done. So it all depends on the returns you're looking for, and real estate's more of a hassle. Many of the mega miners have folded up shop. I wouldn't say many. There's been a few that had a bad business model that probably should have never set up shop in the first place, that have shut down, and that's good. That's a good thing. You know, the longer the bear market, hopefully we can get rid of some of the charlatans in the space. Hopefully we can get rid of some of these altcoins that are total scams, like Ethereum. I mean, it's a total scam. If we could shake some of these things out and get rid of them, it would be good for the space in the long haul. So I'd kind of like to see more blood in the street. I'd kind of like to see Bitcoin go way down to like 1,000. Of course, I'd like to buy some more, so that's one reason. But anyway, I'd like it to go down to like $1,000, and I'd like it to just crush under its, the weight of its pullback, crush some of these altcoins and kill them, because they're not good for the ecosystem. All these scams, centralized coins, and all this stuff. I mean, we don't need it. We don't need a freaking centralized coin. We've already got the U.S. dollar. Okay, it's centralized. Okay, what in the hell do you need a blockchain-based centralized coin? I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, there's no reason for it, right? All you need is a freaking database, just like banks have. Okay, Joe has this much money, so-and-so has this much money. You don't need a blockchain for that. If you're going to be centralized, you might as well just do it the way they're doing it now. It's just ridiculous. So how are the Rolex prices these days? Are they falling a bit? I've heard some people talk about that things are weakening. I tell you, if the stock market keeps going the way it is, something's going to trigger people selling, and it might be triggered if the market keeps going down. Because when people are losing money, and then they have to get money for something or whatever, they got to sell whatever they have, right? And so if it happens to be a Rolex that's sitting around that's extra that they don't need, that might be what goes. And so something is going to start triggering selling. Craig, are you only in Bitcoin? Dabble in Ethereum? Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'd never buy Ethereum. No. No, the reason that I bought Bitcoin is I believe in the concept of decentralized money that nobody controls, and all the benefits, the attributes of Bitcoin. These altcoins like Ethereum are total scams. They're designed to enrich, certain people. They're centralized. They're the exact opposite of why I would support Bitcoin. So no, I would never give them my money, even if I think I could make money at it, right? I mean, a lot of people made money with Ethereum, but I'm not going to invest in something that I don't believe in, and especially something that I think is a detriment to Bitcoin, because it confuses people, right? Especially like Bitcoin Cash, all these spinoffs of Bitcoin, where people have created forks of Bitcoin and say, oh, now we're the real Bitcoin and all this. They're just trying to confuse people. They're using the Bitcoin name. They're just scam artists. So now, having said all that, I don't think any of this can harm Bitcoin. I think that Bitcoin is the honey badger. Bitcoin's the apex predator. I mean, it will be the one that will survive all this. And the more blood in the street, the better, because the stronger it gets. Every time there's a major downturn, Bitcoin comes back stronger. Okay, and so hopefully this bear market will do the same thing. And again, I don't think we've had the pullback that I'm looking for. I'm still looking for a major pullback to shake out and get rid of some of these, like Ethereum, just blow them out and just get rid of them once and for all. So yeah, they're scams. Scam coins. See what Tone Vase has to say on the subject. He'll give you an earful on all these. He calls them SHIT coins. So, well, it doesn't look like Clive is going to come in. Maybe that's because he just follows. Let me check my email and see if there's a message from him. No. No message from him yet. Just a bunch of people trying to sell me stuff. Okay, let me get out of that distraction. He is working. Somebody said he just did a live stream. Maybe tomorrow night I'll go on later. Is he in Oklahoma? Which state is he in? Let's figure out what time zone he's in. Maybe I'll have to go later tomorrow to try to catch him when after. Well, tomorrow is Saturday, so he wouldn't be working tomorrow probably. So Bitcoin dominance is 53% right now. I'd like to see it get up to 60%. My gosh, I think I just heard some thunder. You have to imagine I just would have heard that. I got a comment here. All right, I've gotten distracted here. Shouldn't have gone into my email. Okay, Central Time. So, yeah, tomorrow probably doesn't matter. We might try for the same time. So he did a short live stream from work. Did he do it from work, Michael? Rolex.org website. No, I'll take a look at it. Rolex.org. Built to last. The man behind the crown. Read the article. Perpetual. Our founding spirit. More than a word on the dial. Of every Rolex Oyster watch we make, perpetual is a spirit that drives everything we do. Well, there you go. Cool. Cool. Well, if you're all that, then go ahead and pay the damn money and license the spring drive so we can buy a spring drive. I would probably buy, I can take the word probably out of the sentence. If they came out with a 36 mil day date, now I don't know if they can make the spring drive in that size, but I think they can. If they came out with a 36 mil day date with the ceramic sleeves in the bracelet, the anti-wear ceramic sleeves that the 40 millimeter has, I believe the 36 does not have that. If they added those sleeves and they put a spring drive in it, I would buy one today. Absolutely buy one today. And I'd get the black dial with the loomed hands and loomed indices, so it'd be a little more readable. And I could probably push that as an all-the-time watch. Excellent listener. No disrespect to Clive. Your streams are better on their own. Not to say you guys might develop some chemistry over time. Hey, Craig, don't let that goat spike you with his horn. Hey, that sucker was scary, man. And you know, if you grab his horn, if you grab hold of it, it gets really mad. I mean, he just like, that's like the ultimate insult, right? Any advice on relieving a pinched nerve in the neck? Ooh, that hurts just thinking about it. No, I don't, but that's scary stuff. Good chiropractor, maybe. I don't know. That's scary stuff. Well, excellent listener. Here's the thought process with the show. The idea would be to get together a number of knowledgeable people and show some watches. And for example, if Steve at Little Treasury got a setup similar to what I have at my other place, where he can show, where he has a macro shot and he can show a watch close up, and then he can switch camera shots. He can have like a guest with him, and then he could bring in people with a hangout and have like a panel, and then they could answer questions and talk about whatever it is we're talking about. So you get more opinions and more information that way. That's the idea, and just really have a round table discussion about whatever the heck it is we're talking about. He's interested in taking a look. Steve is interested in taking a look at my setup. Hopefully he's going to come over and bring some Omegas over, and we'll do a show, and I'll show him how the whole setup works. And then if he likes it, he can get a setup for his place. I don't have a good impression of Hodinkee. I much prefer a blog to watch. Yeah, but see, hopefully we could get all of the above. I mean, these guys might see each other as competitors and they might not want to, but the more knowledge you have available to you, I think the better. And you can make the judgment call as to whether or not somebody's full of shit. And I'll tell you what, if I'm kind of like in the mix, I'll call people out if I think they're BSing, right? I have a pretty good BS meter, like the guy that was talking trash about the spring drive on Clive's show. I called BS on that. And by the way, I'm going to call BS on the whole drone thing at the airport. You guys heard about that? They cancel all flights, the second busiest airport in London, because somebody thinks they saw a drone, one of these little drones, right? And they're like, oh my God, a bird can bring down a 747, Can and will are two big different things, okay? I can get in my car and drive to the 7-Eleven a mile down the road, and I can get killed. But the likelihood of me getting killed is not very high. That's why I could buy life insurance pretty cheap, right? It is totally insane for these people to think just because there's some little tiny drone flying around somewhere near the airport, that drone is going to take down a freaking plane. I mean, you talk about a stretch. You talk about if the guy wanted to take down a plane, if he pointed it at the plane and he specifically tried to take down the plane, he wouldn't be able to take down the plane. I call BS on that. Okay, so there's that. All right, let's see here. Got it. Got it. What? The Omega 8900 movement is excellent. Yeah, I've heard some really good things about what Omega is doing here lately. Check out these watch channels. Roman Sheriff. Federico talks about, Federico, I like him. He has the one about servicing watches that kind of said a lot of the things I said. Maybe they will do Hangouts. Yeah, that's what we got to try to do, is get some of these people to come in. Even a goat won't eat anything Tudor. They might eat a Tudor box. Oh my gosh. I live 10 minutes from Gatwick. The whole place is shut down. Yeah, it's unbelievable. I mean, can you imagine a huge freaking airport like that? And they're going to let some tiny little drone shut them down. I mean, what a bunch of punks. I mean, and then of course the media is going to jump all over it. You know, and they're going to bring on all these experts saying, "Oh, absolutely, this thing could take down a plane, you know, just like that." And you know, oh my gosh, it's just they're so full of crap. If you could take down planes with a $30 drone, okay, then the military wouldn't need fighter jets, okay? I'm just saying. The Omega Master Coaxial are too thick. You know, a lot of watches these days I've noticed are too thick, including some of the Grand Seikos. I mean, this one is just about what I can live with as far as thickness. I wouldn't want it any thicker. Because it's cupped, the back, even though it's 14 mils, it sits more like a 12 or 13 mil on my wrist. It really does. So you can see how it's sitting. But some of the watches are really tall. I mean, significantly taller than this. And I just think it's ugly. I agree the drone is some sort of cover story. I don't know if it's a cover story. It's like everybody has to cover their butts. I mean, if there's the slightest possibility that the thing could take down a plane, they err on the side of, okay, we're going to close everything down. And they don't worry about how inconveniencing that is to everybody and how much money that might be costing people. And all, it's just like when there's an accident on the road and they shut down the road. And you ever notice how the authorities always take their sweet time getting the cars out of the way and, oh, we got to do an investigation. We got to get these measurements and all this stuff. I remember back in the day on the Harbor Tunnel in Baltimore, the tunnel that goes under the bay there or whatever it is in Baltimore. If there was an accident in that tunnel, they would have a big truck with a big push bumper thing on it, and they would literally push the car out of the tunnel and off to the side. I mean, immediately. There was no investigation. There was no nothing. I mean, it was cleared, right? And then they, got traffic going again. That was how it was. Back in the day, that's how it was. Nowadays, they'd shut the whole damn thing down for like an afternoon. I mean, it's just, these people are like, I don't know what the hell is wrong with these people. My mother grew up with goats. The fringe off her 70s jacket and the labels off soup cans. Health and safety, God, man. Yeah. From being a kid, I have far worse memories of our geese than the goats we had. Yeah. Oh, yeah, the geese. Yeah, have we? And the chickens, my God, do they poop? They just poop and poop and poop. They eat and poop. That's all they do. Do produce eggs. And by the way, when you use the eggs, you keep the shells. You give the shells back to the chickens, they eat them. I mean, they eat them fast. And that helps them produce more eggs. And they're garbage disposals. Any leftover food we have or anything, you just take it out there and give it to the chickens, and they'll scarf it up. I don't care what it is. They'll scarf it up. You don't need a garbage disposal when you've got chickens. From being a kid, okay, there we go. We just read that. We have become the laughing stock of the world here in the UK. Our country is going to pot. I hear you. Who's calling me? Oh, it's some scam call. They're getting all these scam calls because they want you to buy there for $3 a month. They'll block them, right? So they hit you with all these scam calls so that you'll pay their fee. The only threat I see is the drone flying into the jet engines, but those drones are mostly cheap plastic, so they'll shatter easier than a frozen waterfowl that G and Rolls-Royce tests on the engines. Yeah, And, you know, they say stuff that gets kind of nearby can be sucked in and all that. But again, I mean, it's a big sky and you got to get relatively close to those engines. Um, I think the thing would probably break apart and break into pieces even before it got into the engine. I think the force of the suction and all that would probably just kind of like rip it to pieces, and then it'd be even smaller pieces. I wonder if they've done any tests, you know, before they jump to all these conclusions. I wonder if they've taken any tests and you know, flown a drone into a damn engine while it's running. You know, they could do this on the ground, right? Couldn't they? And see what the hell it really does. But they probably haven't thought of that. But again, I mean, even if you say that if it goes into the engine, it's going to cause harm, the likelihood of it going into the engine, I think, is very slim. It's threading a needle. I mean, it's a big freaking airport. It's a big sky. Even if you're flying right at the thing, I mean, the plane isn't standing still. I mean, that's not an easy feat to do. I think it's a little bit ridiculous, the whole thing. The master coax is a nice movement. Seems like they should work on making it thinner. Yeah, what is going on with all these thick watches? They seem like they don't care, like they want to make them thick these days, that they think that's cool. Even some of the Rolexes I've noticed are too thick and are getting thicker. I don't get it. Let's see. I love the ceramic and the strap, but hate the thickness. I have a 42 PO. Great watch, accurate, but thick. Word drone is clickbait from the. Yeah, the media always needs something to talk about, right? And they're probably telling the people that, oh yeah, you don't want to risk. You don't want to risk flying planes if there's even a hint of a drone being nearby. Craig, after my firing from the forklift job, I'm killing it at the pizza delivery job. Absolutely. Some of the older customers love my Brooks Brothers double-breasted suit so much that they're hiring me for massaging. The only thing is they're mostly very old ladies. Well, there you go. Old ladies rock, man. And they're the ones with the money. But hey, like you said, when one door opens, that's right. Did you see that movie with, I think it was with Steve Martin? No, it wasn't Steve Martin. Yeah, I think he was in it too. There was a movie where him and who's the other guy? Anyway, they're like sort of like gigolos on the French Riviera, where they're hooking up with these older women that all have a lot of money. And the two of them were kind of like competitors. That was a really cool movie. Of course, anything set on the French Riviera is always a good thing, right? Okay, so this message is held for review. We just need one less Al-Qaeda drone attack. We just need one ISIS or Al-Qaeda drone attack, and the TSA will become even more retarded. The shoe inspections. Yeah, don't get me started on. I'll go ahead and show that one. No, I might get like blocked from doing live streams if we talk about this stuff very much, guys. So let's cool it a little bit. But here's the thing. I mean, all that stuff is insane. That's why I stopped flying, and that's why I travel by my own private motor coach now. Because I won't go through all those searches and all that crap. And also, I carry stuff with me that they wouldn't let go on the plane. Thicker Rolex, nah, yeah. And it's not just that one. I've noticed some of the other models have gotten thicker than they used to be. It used to be 12 mils was common. on like a date chest. It's like 12 mils. I think some of them are like 12 and a half now. They've slowly got, yeah, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels. Was that it? That might have been it. I think that was it. Craig, I saw your camera test yesterday with Clive. Great live stream. The video and sound is great tonight. Is it better tonight than it was? I've got a light on me tonight. That's the only difference I can think of. And I'm kind of burning this in, kind of just testing how well this will work. Let's see how hot this thing's getting. It's warm. It's definitely warm. The interface box that I have the HDMI running into, and then it goes to the USB input. That little box, it's about the size of a pack of cigarettes. It's definitely warm. Definitely warm. I wonder what the life of that thing is going to be. I saw some people, when I looked at the review on it, I saw some people complain about the heat. But I didn't see that it actually fails as a result of that. But I don't know if it's really designed to like stream for hours. So if you guys can check it out, it's called a Magewell, Magewell, Magewell. I don't know how long it's supposed to work. Okay. Did you hear Archie's wristwatch investment advice recently? He says that the Daytona in two-tone with a service dial and a Patek World Time are going to skyrocket in value. It's raining here. It was really warm today. That's when I went out and shot that video with the goats. It was like 65 degrees and sunny. What watch would you recommend for the older ladies, Craig? Tudor do. Hey, get them a used lady date, for God's sake. First of all, you can get a real deal on a lady date. They don't have very good resale value. If you really want to go cheap, excuse me, get them a 9F quartz, a lady's Grand Seiko quartz. Man, it is pouring. I knew I heard thunder earlier. Now it's like pouring rain. I wouldn't worry too much. You're not going to be streaming for hours, are you? Well, we've already been streaming for an hour. So yeah, I mean, sometimes we might. I would think maybe it's fine. I mean, we streamed for quite a while yesterday. The thing wasn't that expensive. Let me see if I can find it on Amazon so I can show you the link. I think I can find the one I have. They make several models. See which one I got. Yeah, that's it. I think mine is the HDMI Plus. Damn, it's $359 now. I think it's gone up. I think it was $300 when I got it. Okay, let me put the link in the chat. I'm putting the link in the chat to the device so you guys can know what I'm talking about. Let's see. Ask Cowgirl Sarah for tips on goat herding. I'm going to ask her for some goat tips. You said it was warm today. You're all bundled up. if you want, I can send you some money so you can turn your heat on. No, I'm not going to turn the heat on. It's freaking expensive to run the heat in this place. This place is, you talk about 4,500 square feet. This place is more like 6,000 square feet. Plus, I'm wearing my swimsuit right now. I'm wearing shorts. I could take this off. I'm a little bit warm right now, but it'll be cold tomorrow again. But yeah, I could have taken this off. It was like borderline, right? But it breathes, so it's okay. I'll survive. Have you seen the Omega Planet Ocean comes in 39.5? Oh, I'd consider that watch as a sports watch with a 36 mil date just. I don't think I would go that route. I think I would just, if you're going to get a 36 mil date just, I think I would just go with the date just. I think I would get a, you know what I would get? I would get a Turn-O-Graph date just. And I'd probably get a Turn-O-Graph date just with an oyster bracelet. And I'd probably even be tempted to get a steel and gold one. On an oyster bracelet. So that would be kind of sporty, but kind of dressy. It'd be a real all around, and you can get a deal on those. That's the way I would go with the date just. A Turn-O-Graph. And that way you've got a, you know, you can time. You've got a rotating bezel. Those are a real sleeper, I think. I don't understand why those watches aren't so loved. Let's see here. Hey, Craig, don't worry about the rain. It's the same here in England. Well, I can imagine. First day of winter and 63 degrees today. Where are you, Richard? Where are you today? You know, you could also get a pre-ceramic sub. I think they're only about 12 and a half mils thick. Push comes to shove, you can get them under a shirt cuff. Again, we're going back to that Planet Ocean and a date just. I don't think you need two watches. I don't think there's enough difference between the two. If you were going to go with something like I have on my wrist now, this is 44 mils, right? Then you're going to need some kind of a dress watch option, right? But if you go with a 36 mil date just, that's kind of in between. That's very versatile. I don't think you need two watches in that situation. Boston. Oh, wow. It's that warm up in Boston? Damn. Well, count your blessings. So they ain't going to be that way for long, probably. If I wanted to do this right, I'd have two lights. I'd have one over there and one over here to get rid of shadows, but I was lazy. I just set up one light. Orlando won't stop raining, and for us, 50s is Arctic weather. Yeah, I know. Absolutely. I wintered down in Sarasota for 14 years. I'm up here now, but hopefully next winter I'll be down there. The other one watch I could see would be the Oyster Perpetual 39 white dial. For one watch to have, you might be pushing it. What size is your wrist? Might be too big for to force into a dress situation. I think 36 mil is pretty ideal for an all-arounder. This is making me glad I'm not petite. Planet Ocean is magnificent. It comes in 3 sizes. 42.5 mils would be my choice. Yeah, but isn't it real thick, the Planet Ocean? Seems like to me that one's pretty thick. I'm going to look at all the Omegas when I get a chance, so I'll have a full report. Trust me, I will, on those. All right, well, it doesn't look like Clive is going to make it in, so hopefully maybe tomorrow. I'm going to try to do the same time tomorrow, because tomorrow's Saturday and he shouldn't be working. My wrist is 6.6 millimeters. I average our wrist volume. Wait, it's not 6 millimeters. I think the PO is as thick as your GS diver. I think it's thicker. And also, it also has to do with the way that it's cupped. The case back is cupped. See how the profile of this, see how it looks not real thick? It's because of the way it's cupped on the back. So you really have to try them on before you really know how they're going to do. Planet Ocean is very thick. I prefer the Aquaterra or the new Seamaster. Datejust can be versatile as sports dress, but the OP has a better presence and more variety. Planet Ocean is chunky, great wrist presence. It makes a statement for sure. Oh, I'm sure it would. Sorry, 6.6 inches. There we go. Yeah, well, 6.6 inch wrist, you definitely want to go with the 36 mil. I'd get a Rolex Turn-O-Graph. Turn-O-Graph. I think you'd be tickled pink with that. Of course, you're going vintage because they don't make them anymore. Or not vintage, but, you know, older. I think, what, 2015, the last one or something? The Turn-O-Graph is a great choice, just edging towards sporty, but there are quite a few options. Yeah, and they go for pretty decent prices. I've seen them at good prices. Railmaster's not. Yeah, I want to look at the Railmaster. The Planet Ocean is just a bit too big. Yeah, I hear you on that. I think that might be the case. All right. Well, we're going to wrap. 2011, was that the last year? Wow. It was 7 years ago. The 43 millimeter Planet Ocean is 16 mils thick. Yeah, that's too thick, man. This one's about 14 mils. And this is really my limit. I don't want anything any thicker. If it was any thicker, I wouldn't have bought it. Put it that way. It's right at that edge. The Railmaster is my favorite Omega at the moment, too. Yeah, I got to see that. I like the change of venue, taking us out of the hall. It was nasty, rainy, and windy in Sarasota today. Oh, damn. That's a shame. It's actually, people say that I was in the hallway. That's not a hallway. That's a doorway between the two rooms. And I've got natural light coming in, depending on, you know, what time of the day it is. And so I set up my temporary, that's a temporary broadcasting setup that I just set up there just to test everything. And then I've started using it. My plan is to get that set up somewhere else at some point. But we'll see where. I've got a 34 mil Oyster Perpetual. It's great. Yeah, that's a nice watch. Greece. All right. Greetings from Greece. Absolutely. The Turn-O-Graph is like a Datejust with the added benefits of a Submariner. Yeah, and I think they look cool. Let me pull up one. Let me try to find one here. me a moment here and I'll find some. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Give me a second here. Let's see if I can do the window. Okay. Share. Okay, I'm sharing my screen. Now, this is the style that I think would be cool. And you know, the advantage that you have with the older Turn-O-Graph, the steel and gold one, is you still have the micro adjustments. I don't like the Jubilee with the hidden clasp bracelet because you lose the micro adjustments. I would just as soon have this watch right here. So $6,000, and that's their asking price. Of course, you can negotiate. That is gorgeous. I like the blue dial. I like the loomed hands, loomed indices. Of course, it's just a dot of loom, but still, it's enough. And I love that gold Turn-O-Graph. And see, and people say, well, oh, it's got the pressed clasp and all that. And yeah, they work fine. I wore those for years. They work fine. Obviously, you want to get one without much stretch in the bracelet. You want to get one in really good shape, right? But these work fine. And you've got the micro adjustments. That's a good looking watch. I mean, I don't care what anybody says. I mean, if you needed just like a really versatile all around watch for the money, I don't think you can beat it. And I think that bezel is stunning. I love that bezel. I mean, I'm tempted to buy the watch and I don't even need a watch. Okay. That's how impressed I am with those watches. So that's it. That's all I need to show you. I'm going to stop sharing my screen because that's a home run right there. So you guys let me know what you think about that. Let me know what you think about that, as the big pontiff would say. That's what turns me away from the current 36 mil Datejust Jubilee bracelet. It doesn't have the full clasp like the 41 Jubilee Datejust. Yeah, but see, I looked at those bigger, you know, Datejusts, and I just didn't. I wasn't impressed. They almost like they're. I don't know. They're trying too hard or something. I just don't like that size. And I've got a 7¼ inch wrist. My wrist isn't that small, right? But I just don't like the. And that's another reason why I got rid of the Snowflake. It fit okay, but it was too big for a dress watch, and it wasn't really a sport watch. It was kind of like in between. It was in no man's land, and I just didn't. It's just I don't know. I just don't think that's the way to go. That's a great one watch collection, all in one. You talking about the Turn-O-Graph I just showed, David? And think about it, $6,000, and that's the asking price. And here's the thing: you could find one that's jumping up and down, scary condition for that kind of money. I see Little Treasury has an Omega event yesterday. Wish I was in the area. I like the Turn-O-Graph for sure. The timing bezel negates my need for a diving watch. Yeah, I think it looks classy. I just think it's classy as hell looking. I'm shocked they stopped making it. Now, I don't like the newer ones. I don't like the look of them as much, but I would go for one if I, you know. I mean, I'm not saying I wouldn't buy it. I'm just saying I like the older one that I just showed better. I like the look of the bezel better. Nice watch. Adrian from Bark and Jack was very taken with the Turn-O-Graph, but I prefer the Milgauss myself. One of the older Milgauss watches, yeah, I'd go for that probably, but I still think I'd give the edge to the Turn-O-Graph, especially in the usefulness category, and just as an all-arounder. But that Jubilee bracelet really looks classy. Did they make the Turn-O-Graph in all gold? If they did, that would be an interesting proposition, because I bet you could get one for a deal. If I could find an oyster bracelet Turn-O-Graph with a white dial, I'd be over the moon. I don't know if they made those or not. I think the later ones they did, but I don't know if they made them in the older style like I just showed. But Turn-O-Graphs are not that popular. They're buyable. They're very buyable. I'll put it that way. All right, I'm going to drink one more swig of water, and then we're going to call this. And remember, Sarah's not having a show this Monday or the next Monday. These are Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve. And I've got an event, 2 events I'm shooting on New Year's Eve, so I won't be able to do anything then anyway. Gotta say, great to see Clive talking with you, Craig. An intelligent conversation was good to hear. Okay. What is wrong with Datejust and stainless and 18-karat gold bezel, low profile, and does everything? Yeah, I mean, absolutely. Again, I would prefer one of the ones, if I'm going to get a Jubilee bracelet model, I would prefer one of the ones with the micro adjustments. So that's one of the older ones, right? They did away with the micro adjustments on the Jubilee. No more Cowgirls Live for 3 weeks. Well, it will be in 3 weeks. So it will not be. This Monday is Christmas Eve, so we're not doing a show Christmas Eve. And then the next Monday happens to be New Year's Eve, so we're not doing a show New Year's Eve. So we will do one the following Monday. That's right. You're going to have to save up all your cool questions. And I appreciate those who have been supporting her and helping her out. I mean, we should encourage the youngsters to do creative things. And I think that show has some real potential too. I think the subject matter is interesting. She's going to have a lot of things to talk about. Hopefully she can start getting some guests. Tudor North Flag, Wolf Wolf. Okay. Let's look at one more. Let's see if I can pull up one more Turn-O-Graph just for grins here. Give me a second, and then I'll share the screen. I want to find one. This one almost looks like it's steel. Brief history of the Turn-O-Graph. All right. Let's look at this. Let me share screen. We're going to look at this article together here. Give me a second. Share the screen. Okay. Brief history of the Rolex Turn-O-Graph. See, there's like the first one that really did look like a Submariner. It was like a predecessor, I think, right? You know, they mentioned that in 2011 they stopped producing them. Launched in 1953. First Turn-O-Graph was the inspiration for the Submariner. Now that's ugly. That one they hit with an ugly stick. Okay, let's keep going. That's kind of ugly. You know, some of the older Rolexes, I don't care what you guys say, but some of them were butt ugly. So there's that. There's one with a white dial. Look at that older one with a white dial. Oh, there's an all gold. How cool is that? Look at the hands on that. Oh, it's got diamonds on the dial. I don't know that I like that, but still, how cool is that? Boy. Now this one, I think this one is probably steel. See that bezel? I think that one's probably all steel. There's one with a white gold bezel. Maybe they didn't make one with a steel bezel. Maybe they all had either white gold or yellow gold. Yellow gold bezel. Here we go. Are those white gold bezels on those? I guess. I don't know. Huh. God, the numbers, some of them are silver and some have the black on them. Is that, are they defective or do they wear off that way? Now, see, here's the newer one. See, I don't like that case as much. I like the vintage one better, I think. But I would go for this. I mean, I wouldn't throw that out of bed, right, as they would say. But I like the vintage one, the one before that, better. See what else we got here. All right, that's it. All right. But anyway, that's the bottom line is I think it's a good move to get one of the vintage ones like I showed, the first one I showed. I think that's a lifetime. That's a good, very good watch. I will say that's a very good watch to have. Let's go back to the comments real quick, and then we're going to wrap this puppy up, and I'm going to eat something. Chuck Yeager wore Turn-O-Graph when he broke the sound barrier. Really? Wow, that does look like a Submariner. I don't like the fluted bezel as much. Yeah, I like the bezel on the one I showed initially. Correct, Thomas? I think that's the way to go. Okay, let's do a quick poll. How many like the first one I showed, which was, I would call it not vintage, but 15 years ago model, okay? The first one I showed that was steel and gold Jubilee with the micro adjustments, with the gold bezel. How many like that versus the newer one, which they discontinued in 2011? Put a V if you like the older one. Put a V and put an N if you like the newer one. Okay? V if you like the vintage one, and an N if you like the newer one. And then after we do this poll, we will wrap up. I got 2 V's so far. Another V. I'll tell you, I have been tempted 2 or 3 times. Newer. Brian likes the newer one. I've been tempted 2 or 3 times to buy one of those Turn-O-Graphs, and I don't even need one. That's how much I like those watches. And if I could find one in all gold, damn, that would be tempting. That'd be tempting. With the Jubilee bracelet, all gold, with the micro adjustments. Talk about an all-arounder watch. It's going to be nice and thin. It's only going to be like 12 mils thick, maybe even 11.5 mils thick. That thing is awesome. Awesome with a capital A. All right, we're going to wrap this show. Once again, we've solved all the world's problems, including airline problems. And I'm going to stop the broadcast, and we will see you all tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel.